basically a lack of education. Plain and simple. It's a lack of education. Well, there's no other way to put it. You can decide that you know I don't know. Folks, education is so important. It is utterly, it is very important. And you have to understand and know that the left also understands the importance of a lack of education. Ooh, what are you saying, Rod? There is a reason back in the slave days it was forbidden, illegal, for anyone to teach slaves to read and write. When you have someone who is educated, it is hard, if not nearly impossible, to enslave them. When you have an educated population, it is harder to control them the way you want to control them. You can't enslave them to government. When you have a freely, brightly educated population, properly educated, it becomes nearly impossible to subdue them and to have them submit to your will. You have to dumb down your population. You have to cut their education. You have to form and mold their education that fits your desires. Now, you have to understand that this is exactly what liberals have been doing for the past 100 years. This is what they have been doing on overdrive since the 1960s when civil look, we can keep blacks back. All we had to do, we could keep them down. We could let them have education, and blacks were becoming very educated in the first half of the 20th century. We can, they can get educated, but we'll just segregate them. They won't be able to mingle with whites. We'll keep them locked down in their own little communities. They won't be able to go to our school, so they won't have the best education possible. So we'll be able to keep them that way. We'll be able to keep them in check that way. That way, it'll be very difficult, if not impossible, for them to bust out of the slave mentality types of work and environment. Blacks were pretty much a lot of servants in one form or another in the first half of the 20th century. But then as they began to get more and more educated, they realized, hey, something ain't right here. We're not being treated equal like we were supposed to at the end of the Civil War. We deserve the right to vote. We deserve to be able to go to the best schools. We deserve to be able to eat side by side with other Americans anywhere. We deserve to have equal treatment at the water fountain. They were becoming too educated. We were. Blacks were becoming too educated. It was all about education. So then the 60s came around, and it was civil rights. Oh, my God. If we let the blacks get civil rights and we let them have all this education, man, there ain't nothing that's going to stop them. So what did they do? They started to corrupt the inner city educational system. And they did something different. Hey, you know what? You know what we're going to do for you? This is the Democrats now. We're gonna have this war on poverty, have this great society. Lyndon Baines Johnson. Because you know, you blacks need some help now. Now that you're really free, this was the whole notion. In fact, Lyndon Johnson said it. Not exactly the way I'm going to say it, but this is exactly what they were thinking. Because you're not being taken care of, basically, by being corralled into your own little communities. Because now, because of civil rights, you are going to be free to roam the country and do anything that you damn well please. Well, we got to help you. We've been helping you all this time. Yeah. Maybe we were wrong with the total slave thing. But, you know, Abraham Lincoln had, you know, we saw better ways since Abraham. So, but we decided that since we couldn't be your masters and take care of you, well, we decided that we're going to put you in, you know, in your own little enclaves and keep you where you belonged so we could better take care of you. Since we couldn't do it the slave way, we had to do it another way. So now the civil rights things means we can't do it that way either. So we're going to have to find another way to take care of the blacks. Thus comes the welfare system. Now, I know there are white people on welfare. I fully understand that. But you will find in the ghettos, the city projects, where were most of them built, and who occupied more than 95% of these so-called ghetto projects? They were blacks. They were corralled into these high rises and these towers called the projects. And they were put there because it was easier to corral them into those buildings so they could focus them on certain city schools. Oh, yeah, you know, the Jefferson Projects, y'all are all going to public school number 31 or whatever it is. And they proceeded to gut the school system. All the while telling us, oh, yeah, we need more money for education. We need more money for education. And they were gutting the inner city school system. And today, fast forward to today, folks, the vast majority of our nation's poorest performing schools are attended. The majority of the student population is overwhelmingly black. And they've been educating these young black, impressionable black minds. Yeah, those Republicans are the racists. So when you actually talk to a black person, you start pointing out certain things. Well, you know, do you think this is racist? Well, do you think not having fair education and getting a poor education is kind of racist because it's, you know, mostly blacks? Yeah, that's racist. Do you think this type of thing is racist? Do you think that type of thing is racist? And they'll agree, yeah, that's a racist thing. And sometimes they'll even get, I mean, I've had conversations like this with my own family. Yeah. Family members. Yeah, that's racist. Even people who are calling the Republicans in this last election, you know, y'all racist. They are racist. And Rod, you don't know what you're talking about because you're just Stockholm Syndrome type of person. Yeah. Is this thing, and I'll go to them and say, is this thing a racist thing? Yeah, that's a racist thing. And then you point out to them with proof and documentation, well, that's not a Republican ideal. That's a Democratic ideal, and the Democrats were the one that brought it forth and made it law or policy. Some of them say, oh, you lie, Rod, you lie. You don't understand, you lie. Really? And then some look at it and say, well, I'll be damned. Yeah. Because you've been lied to and been given a very poor education. You are ignorant to the facts. You're not stupid. You're not dumb. You have not been educated. And then when somebody comes and tries to educate you, well, a lot of them are thinking, well, that's not the way I was brought up and taught, man. That doesn't make any sense because they kept telling me it was you. They kept telling me it was them Republicans. They kept telling me it was the conservatives. They kept telling me that, at some point after civil rights, all the racists and the Democrats went over to the Republican Party. When was that? I keep asking, when people say, oh, well, it used to be the Democrats, but now it's Republicans. When did that change? Oh, around 1950s. Really? So in the 1960s, it was Democrats that passed civil rights. Yes, wrong. And then you proceed to go down the line. Oh, so it's the Republicans that have members that were former Grand Cyclops and Grand, whatever, exalted Cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, wrong. Then you have to tell them that Robert Byrd is a Democrat. And they look at you sometimes like you got two heads because it doesn't fit with the poor education they got. So, folks, it's all about education. I'm telling you, you've got to get a hold of the reins of the educational system in your community and in your state. That is the only way we're going to defeat this stuff. That is the only way we're going to turn stuff around. It is the only way to save this nation. I'm telling you right now, looking at this past election, I know you got some people saying, well, it's proof that the Republicans need to become more moderate. No, bull crap. Look, there was nobody more moderate than Scott Brown running for a Senate seat in Massachusetts. He got thwapped. I've told you time and time, don't fall for this garbage about being moderate. You cannot out-liberal a liberal. If you try to be moderate and liberalistic and they want somebody who's a liberal, they will vote for the true liberal over the moderate liberal or fake liberal every time. You can't out-liberal a liberal. There is no such thing as becoming more moderate. That's a cop-out. I know this is what everybody's talking about with the law. Oh, Mitt Romney, he was more moderate. Should have been more moderate. We need to be more moderate. BS, we need to be more moderate. I mean, let me ask you Jews something. Because now we're supposedly hearing, you got a report that Jews are telling the Republicans they need to be more moderate. Really? Well, hey, look what's happening in Israel right now. Hamas sending rockets into Israel. Haven't heard anything from President Obama on this. So what? You want more moderation? More abandoning of Israel? Folks, it's all about education. Because it makes no sense other than the way the people have been educated. You want more moderation. You want to believe that somebody who isn't racist is the racist group, all the while accepting the fact, even in spite of the actual evidence to the contrary, that we need to be more liberal and more moderate. And you start pointing out this stuff, and it's almost they can't compute. People cannot compute the data. No, that don't make no sense. How can that be? Well, it's easy how it can be, because it's the truth. People have to understand that it is education that is the most important part. I mean, you have got to get a hold of the educational system in order to turn this mess around. There's no way we're going to be able to turn it around without the educational system. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, but that happens to be the truth. It just ain't happening, folks. It's not happening.